Before there was Toy Story, Saving Private Ryan, and certainly long before this trip to the Uncanny Valley, Tom Hanks won his second Oscar for his portrayal of Forrest Gump. While the boomer nostalgia bait was and is a little lost on me, there's an anime that I love that is eerily similar. For example, they both begin with a swell of music and a burst of fantastical wind. And as a fun fact and mediocre segue, Tom Hanks loves typewriters.
I probably have 250 plus typewriters.
And I'm sure Tom Hanks would love that they play a central role in our Forrest Gump anime. Violet Evergarden. The story begins at the end of a massive war. It's here we find the former child soldier Violet. Having been gravely wounded, she attempts to receive new orders from her handler, Major Gilbert. But after months of no response, Lieutenant Colonel Hodgins, friend and former commanding officer of the Major, arrives to deliver Violet to the Evergarden family. Believing this adoption to be a form of being decommissioned, Violet refuses their offer. Hodgins acquiesces and instead hires Violet to work at his postal company, where she becomes entranced by the crew of stenographer poets whose profession has the same name as the typewriter they use, the auto memory doll. Seeing how gracefully these women adapt the words of the illiterate and the poorly spoken, Violet reveals her desire to do the same, so that she might finally understand the meaning behind the Major's final order.
Live and be free. I love you.
But like Forrest Gump, Violet has some quirks in how she navigates the world. Forrest and Violet both likely fall into the neurodiversity spectrum. As a full disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional, and I'm only going off my very limited understanding of the subject. But with that, based on the Harvard Medical School's primer, neurodiversity describes the concept of people experiencing and interacting with the world in very different ways. And while that word includes everyone, most people bring that word up in the context of things like autism, ADHD, and other neurological or developmental conditions. There have been more and more examples of neurodiversity in popular media, and some are better than others, such as Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, Max and later Hank from the Parenthood TV show, and River from the video game To the Moon. Forrest and Violet are also neurodivergent, meaning they don't experience the world in the statistically normal sense.
What does normal mean anyway?
That isn't a judgment, Miss Gump. That's why I qualified it with statistically. Forrest doesn't have a statistically normal IQ, but he's got some Chad levels of emotional intelligence. Violet, on the other hand, while sharing Forrest's aptitude for military training, has strengths almost entirely the opposite of him. Her emotional intelligence is so low, even Forrest might be tempted to call her stupid.
Stupid is as stupid does, sir.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Forrest. When the Evergardens offer to adopt her, Violet's response is disarming.
Yes, but I don't have any parents, so I don't need replacements.
After reeling from that verbal slap, when she's told the Evergarden's son died in the war, she follows it up with this verbal haymaker.
I can't become a replacement for your lost child.
And mind you, none of this is malicious. Violet is just that matter of fact. Lack of social grace aside, there are some trade-offs for her. Her initial task at the office is sorting letters. When she does it so quickly and well, her trainer offers to let her try to deliver some mail. While he thought he meant the next day, she simply memorizes the local map and starts that same evening. Thankfully, Hodgins happens to see her and starts establishing work hours and boundaries, all while treating her to dinner. And luckily, this act of kindness isn't a one-off for Violet. Violet and Forrest both find love in the darkest and most hopeless of places. For Forrest, I think he always knew his mother loved and supported him. We all know her quote,
Stupid is, stupid does.
"Yes, Forrest, thank you."
Okay.
And I'm sure we all remember his best friend Jenny's encouraging words,
Run, Forrest, run!
which ultimately led him to his football scholarship and the start of people beginning to use Forrest for their own benefit.
He must be the stupidest son of a bitch alive! But he sure is fast!
Meanwhile, Violet was mysteriously obtained and gifted to Major Gilbert because of her combat prowess. She was treated as a weapon by everyone except the Major, though he reluctantly utilized her abilities to turn the tide of battle on more than one occasion. Even Hodgins states that he should have intervened with Violet's military training sooner, and that his post-war actions are his chance at redemption. Violet's history, up to the point we first meet her, is almost universally that of someone being used. And that is a large part of why Violet Evergarden carries a TV-14 rating. The primary plot revolves around the effects of war, even after the war's end, and how humanity is both the panacea to and bigger than war. For me, Forrest Gump's story truly doesn't take off until he gets to Vietnam, finding a kindred spirit in Bubba, only to lose him and other platoon members in an attack, reveals Forrest's truest colors. And this entire section of the movie shows a country at each other's throats, be it through the Peace Rally, the Black Panther Party, Forrest literally witnessing Watergate. The last 30-ish% of the movie does move past the images of war, but up to the point of the anime, Violet has only known war. Violet was 10 years old when the Major was coerced into weaponizing her. I mean, it was that or let her die on the street. For almost 4 years, she studied, fought, and killed at the behest of the military. She compares herself to a dog or a tool, something inhuman. As Hodgins tries to leave her in the loving care of the Evergardens, her response echoes this.
I am the Major's tool, but if he doesn't need me anymore, then I should be discarded.
Like a toy with no child to play with it, she's concerned she has no further use or purpose. And it's during one of these conversations that Hodgins prepares her to confront the idea that, like Private Ryan, people have died because of and for Violet. Oh man, did I just go 3 for 3 with Tom Hanks movie references? Go me!
Every breath I take without your permission raises my self-esteem.
But this series, like Forrest Gump, eventually lets up on the complications of war. Her work as an auto-memory doll takes her around the world, and while there are a few episodes that aren't directly related to the war's collateral damage, they instead reveal that much-needed humanity I mentioned earlier, culminating in a maturing Violet beginning to understand her own role in the war and the world at large. These stories aren't all gloom and doom. Forrest Gump brings a lot of love into the world he lives in. Sharing the earnings of the shrimping business with Bubba's family lifts them out of intergenerational poverty. That same shrimping company helps Lieutenant Dan find his new purpose and make peace with his God. The film shows the difference in Forrest Gump's approach to life, even though most of that is a series of miraculous circumstances referencing boomer historical events with an almost Family Guy zeal.
Hey, Forrest, I got our lunches.
I mean, I'm supposed to believe that Forrest inspired Elvis's Dancing, John Lennon's Imagine, the smiley face logo, and the shit happens catchphrase? Violet Evergarden avoids that nostalgia trap because her world isn't ours. Yes, she has a few of her own magical circumstances, like writing a princess's love letters and inspiring a major playwright, but for the most part, her work involves normal, everyday people and focuses on the mundane and underappreciated aspects of life, like transcribing science journals with a bibliophile as a small part of a massive project, journaling a mother's hard-earned wisdom for her daughter, or just a soldier's letter home. Meeting these people and getting a glimpse into their lives helps her to discover that meaning of I love you. And we've seen this story before. George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, or My Fair Lady, The Myth of Pinocchio. They're all stories of people deemed less than finding their inherent worth and becoming human. But Violet doesn't have some magical fairy granting her life and a constant cricket companion. She has more in common with Eliza Doolittle in that while the Major is a catalyst, it's Violet's inherent traits that, after a lot of refining, bring her success. Her stoicism, her radical candor, and her relentless devotion to the work grants her insights and opportunities that a more neurotypical person might not have. Finally, mixed in with the inner struggles of the characters, Violet Evergarden sets the cinematography of its story against the innate beauty of nature. Just as Forrest's last conversation with Jenny is about the natural splendor of his adventures, Violet's are animated with the same capital R romantic reverence for something as simple as a flower in bloom. Violet Evergarden is a series of breathtaking visuals, a testament to the power of the written word, and the story of someone previously written off as a tool to be used and discarded, being brought to life. So what are you waiting for? You can stream Violet Evergarden on Netflix. I would start with the series, and then, if you're so inclined, move on to the movies and special. If you want to revisit every decade between the 40s and the 90s with Tom Hanks, you can stream Forrest Gump anywhere you can add Showtime. Have a favorite movie, book, or TV show you'd like to see compared to an anime? Drop it in the comments below, and then subscribe so you don't miss that episode. I believe there's an anime out there for you, and I am glad to help you find it. Geez, you and Forrest both. How can you be so bad about losing stuff to the wind? Can somebody get these two a kite?